Hello.
What the hell are we doing here?
That's this. I know this is different, isn't it? Yes. Why
Where
aren't
have you brought? Where have you brought us, Ben?
I brought us to the void?
Oh no,
Look
not
at that
again.
picture I've decided to put over this that I will figure out
Yeah,
later. Yes.
yeah.
So
Make it interesting, but not at all sexy.
okay. As you can tell by the title of this video, we're doing something a little different and hopefully much more popular this time.
I'm not
Um.
that hopeful, but yeah, we'll see.
So yeah, this is we are recording this on the Saturday, and a little program called Doctor Who was on. No,
You probably haven't heard of it. It's a very
yeah,
niche program.
yeah. Uh, last year, um, last week, we watched Doctor Who and we saved it for Thursday. Makes sense. But I was so eager to talk about it, and we sort of don't really want to blow our load with one another immediately. We sort of like to save it up and do it in front of you.
Yeah,
Um,
like rather than spend the whole week edging about it as well,
yeah,
rather just we'd do it now.
yeah.
Get
So,
really stuck into it.
I yes, I thought we'd have a go. Um, and talk about it now, and we'd get a video out of it, and then we can, because I mean, it took up a good chunk of that viscera cleanup detail. So
It's true.
yeah, let's talk about Wild Blue Yonder. We've just
Okay.
seen it, so yeah, why don't you have a start?
Did you see any of the stuff between the Weakest Link and Doctor Who? Literally any of it at all?
Is that the weird trailers where it was like staticky stuff?
No, I'm thinking specifically when they were playing the BBC One logo, literally just before when they were introducing what was going to come on.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they used the words "Hoovians assemble,"
yeah,
which is another fucking Marvel thing.
yeah.
Oh, I'm not
Well, I thought
I'm not happy.
a,
I know why they're doing it.
a thought occurred to me when that was playing. That wouldn't it be fun if one day that BBC indent
Mhm.
that was part of the episode?
They did it, didn't they? At one point, I'm sure.
Did they? I don't know.
I feel like they did, but maybe I possibly. They've done a lot of stuff over the last.
Hmm.
What is it? 18, 17 years, 18 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
yeah. What did you make of it?
as a whole,
Yeah.
I thought it was considerably weaker than the previous episode.
Yeah. I think one of the problems I had with it was that I had heard whispers that it was going to be a dark, scary one, and certainly it seemed to be going that direction with the concept
Yeah, like I hadn't heard anything, but
initially, anyway.
I hadn't heard anything about it at all other than the title,
Hmm.
and obviously that those two people were in it, and that little clip of what something so bad for doctors, so the TARDIS has left or whatever.
Yeah. No.
But I've made a note here, like
Yeah.
the last note I wrote, more psychological, but also more goofy.
Yeah.
And
I
I think that sums up the episode quite well.
I think it does in part.
Okay.
I mean, as I say, I thought we were going in a certain direction, and I got quite excited. Thought, oh, okay, here's a spaceship that seems to be abandoned, and it's a mystery. And then we're on the edge of the universe, and the Doctor's kind of into it, and is kind of creeped out by it at the same time. And
Mm.
something's watching them, and there's a weird robot that's moving very slowly. And what's the deal? What's going on? And even, but then the shapeshifters showed up, and you're right, it was very, very goofy. And it occurred to me that you could do a lot conceptually with that. I think,
Mhm.
I mean, you could have leaned into body horror, or you could have leaned into psychological horror a bit more. Um,
Instead, what they leaned into was the Lazarus Project.
Lazarus Experiment. I don't understand
Oh,
that.
that's what it was. Yeah.
What's that comparison from? I don't understand where you're drawing that from.
But all I could think, seeing the effects at least of the two shapeshifters,
Yeah, that's
was
okay.
was Lazarus. That's literally all I could think, and
Mm.
that's not a good thing. You want people to be thinking about because that's a rightfully panned episode, right?
I love that episode, but I love the
No,
story.
like the story's got potential, but I feel like it was mishandled from a. They tried to do too much with it visually, and
Well,
it
I
it, it, it screwed it.
I think the Yeah, I think sometimes the CGI was a bit jarring. It didn't quite blend quite so well. It did feel like they were a bit in a video game. As I say,
Yeah.
I didn't really. I think it was too, as you said, I think it was too goofy. That's a shame because I think there was something in that, and I had gone into it expecting, Midnight Point Two.
Yeah, you see, there was that point when they were talking about the airlock, and I was like,
Yes,
oh, I wonder if there's a midnight thing sort of going on here.
yes. That I was thinking about that more and more. The idea of copying as well.
Mm.
That was a big part of it.
There
Um,
was there's an episode you won't have seen because it's Matt Smith era,
yeah,
with the Gangers. I think they were called.
yeah, I have seen that one.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember. I thought it was after you stopped watching, but
Yeah,
like there was a point when I was entertaining the possibility that was connected in some way because
mm,
again the duplicates and it would have made sense, I suppose. But no,
yeah. I don't think it. I think the idea of telling us practically nothing sort of backfired on them because our imaginations ran wild,
and
and
were
what we
better than
got
what we got.
was a perfectly feasible, if pretty mediocre episode.
How do you make a full length Doctor Who episode with two actors, right?
Well, you go into you do minimalism, don't you? You bring it all
you you
back. You pull
you
everything
have them
back.
play you have them play multiple roles.
Yes, you just do conversation stuff. Although I have to say, I think Catherine Tate, her villain portrayal was noticeably different. There was something about her face, the way she held her face, which was very good. I liked that.
That moment, let's say that moment, that bit where they're talking about Gallifrey, but it's not actually Gallifrey that the Doctor's from. That
Yeah,
I quite liked the conversation there,
is that a?
and I wasn't entirely. I thought he was the fake in that scene.
See, I thought, what if the Doctor and Donna are together and the two fakes are
Yeah, yeah,
together? Wouldn't it be funny?
it would because no, neither of them are going to know who's fake and
Yes,
who's not.
but
Really,
yeah, I think I don't know. You saw was that flux thing? That's a thing that happened, isn't it? That's just
that is the 6 episode arc that we had with Jodie Whittaker.
right.
A year or two ago. I can't remember how long, and I don't think it's the last thing we had, but I wrote about it actually. There are 6 pieces that I wrote about one for each episode. But
Hmm.
you can go and find on the site if you want to. And there was some strong moments in them, and there were some shit moments in them. But generally speaking, the best way to describe them is chibnall.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard things.
Yeah, you have. You've heard things tonight from me, let alone.
I think I think they needed to. It was too goofy, and I think they really needed to point it either in body horror and be like, oh, they cannot figure out the human form and they look horrifying, or they're perfect replicas, and you just go psychological, full on psychological horror, and
No, you see what I'm thinking is there was that bit towards the end where there were. Oh, spoilers, by the way, for anyone who's not seen it yet.
yeah,
But if you haven't
spoilers.
seen it yet, you shouldn't be listening to this.
Yeah, it's your own fault, you idiot.
Right? You moron. You cretin.
Yes.
You fuckwit. You fucking shithead. Anyway, there was that bit towards the end when they were, how do we not be scared? Why are they trying to scare us? And I was like, well, this isn't scary for me at all.
No.
And surely the whole point is you want the audience to be scared, but the goofiness, you make something stop being scary by making it funny. It's
Yeah.
literally the thing that you do with Boggarts in Harry Potter,
Yeah.
right? It's the exact same fucking thing, and they fucked it.
Mm. I didn't get I what I really liked, and I don't even think it was executed that well. I missed David Tennant explaining the episode to me at the end of the towards the end of the episode, where he's like, "Oh yes, oh I know what happened," and he goes through it. I like the bit. My favorite one of those is in Tooth and Claw,
Mm.
where he's talking about, "Oh, it was the whole thing was set up ages ago, but because Prince Albert and the guy's dad got talking about werewolf stories, and they dared to believe it was true, and they put a plan in place." And I love that. And I liked it when they did it here, but I thought the dead captain was revealed too soon. If she had
Okay.
been found as soon as they walked into the bridge and she was there, you've set
Mhm.
that up. It's not like 5 minutes before the reveal of everything.
See,
Um,
I'd assumed that the footing was just a robot walking down the hallway.
that's too slow.
No, but it was the foot wasn't that consistent.
Mm,
There's quite a big gap between each of the
mm,
foots.
yeah, I I think yeah, they went way too goofy with it. I mean,
The trouble is, it wasn't even. I said
I s-
it wasn't scary. It was funny, but it wasn't even that funny for the
yeah,
most part.
I was gonna say I say it was goofy. I just think it just didn't.
It was trying to be funny. It didn't land anywhere near as often as it should
Those
have done.
visuals didn't work, and I think it wanted to go uncanny valley when their arms and where their arms were all too long,
Yeah.
and I don't think it quite hit that point.
No, it wasn't what it should have been for what they were trying to do.
I think there was potential with it,
Hmm.
um, but it's a
I
shame in a
sometimes
sense.
I, I sometimes think that perhaps they don't understand the gravity of the situation that they're in terms of the importance of getting Doctor Who right now.
Mm, I mean, are you saying that they can't afford mediocre episodes?
I think that they have understated how important it is they get it right.
Mm,
And they're not this they did not get it right with this episode as far as I'm concerned.
I think they got.
People Doctor Who fans have been desperate waiting, looking forward to Davies coming back and being involved. Right,
Yeah.
this was like the lowest of the low range of Davies episodes as far as I'm concerned. It is down there with I can't even. It's down there with fucking Love and Monsters sort of time. I don't even know
Yeah.
who wrote that one. Whoever fucking wrote that one, it's down there with that sort of level of my feel towards it,
Mm,
right? And I don't hate Love and Monsters, but it's not a good episode compared to everything around it. And
no.
this episode right now, this is the one where you need to get it even more right than the last one, the previous one, because this is the one that's leading into the end of the arc, isn't it?
Mm,
You know?
I think. I think my expectations were too high going into it. There are some things I like. I like the the plan, the captain's plan. That made sense
Yep.
to an
Clever.
extent, though, because
Makes sense.
I don't understand. Was it established that they couldn't? They had no concept of slow. I mean, I get they couldn't mimic if you were slow,
Yeah.
but just the idea of if we slow everything down, they won't realize
it's
it.
it's the things they were scaring you, or they were trying to scare them because then your adrenaline's pumping, so you're thinking faster, so
Mm,
they can analyze it better
mm,
and quicker. By making everything slow, they can analyze it slower.
right.
But even then, like if it still takes the same relative time to get stuff done, surely they work it out anyway, right? But then they can't read the robot, so
I guess. Yeah.
because it hasn't got the same sort of brain.
Mm, I think it. Yeah, as I say, I think there was real potential in that concept, and you could have gone
Yeah.
several ways with it. And I think they really missed a trick there.
I I did quite like and I wrote this down just before they revealed that it was the case, before they referenced it. With the TARDIS being gone, the language situation.
Yes, I like that too, although it didn't really come into play, did it?
No, not at all.
It
Not at
wasn't.
all.
I mean, it
But
did to an extent that it didn't translate the countdown as a countdown.
yeah,
Um,
it's funny enough. It's like we were talking about literally earlier today with words that we hadn't
yes,
seen. Like I know you heard this story again earlier, but the first time I saw the word epitome written down, I read it as epitome because I'd only
yes.
ever heard the word epitome.
And I only very recently saw the phrase common or garden variant written down, and prior to that, I had always heard it as common or garden variant, and
Yeah.
just never really questioned it because that's always what I heard. Um,
But yeah, it was nice for them to reference that and actually
yeah, and
it came into play, but it was such a minor thing.
I like the idea that the TARDIS is programmed to run away in case of danger. That makes sense to me. That's something you would have on something like that, an incredibly rare and valuable bit of kit that if it fell into
Mm.
the wrong hands could be calamitous. I think you want to talk about the beginning and the end.
Yeah, got it.
What did you think of the pre-credits scene?
You mean with Isaac Newton?
Yeah.
Well, I made a note that we've been there.
Yes, I did wonder. It did seem like the sort of it seemed like the sort of person who would pop up in a, in a Doctor Who episode. You'd have an Isaac
Oh no,
Newton.
no, I mean you and I have been to
Oh
where
yes, we
Isaac
have.
Newton's house. Yeah.
You're right. We have been to Isaac Newton's house.
I can't remember if it was a school trip or if it was that science thing we did.
It was the extreme physics science camp we did because we are not nerds.
No, no, we're not nerds. But anyway, yeah, I made that note. I thought it was a bit ridiculous. The whole again, you didn't pick up, you didn't say anything about it when I referenced it earlier, but the whole gravity mavity thing is just fucking
When did you
stupid to the
reference
point
it
of stupid.
earlier?
When I was saying that the writers don't understand the mavity of the situation
Oh
and
right.
how they need to, if you when you listen back, you'll hear it.
I I didn't pick up on it when the joke was made the first time or the second time either.
In
You
what
know.
in the show?
Yes, I know.
Oh, okay.
Isaac Newton was like working through it and trying to figure out what exactly she said, and then Donna said Mavity instead of Grant. Are they going to just keep doing that for the rest of Doctor?
I hope not. I really hope not because it's fucking stupid.
I didn't get it. I thought, is that plot significant that she said that? Why has she said that? Has she?
No, she said gravity the first time, and we
Yeah,
misunderstood
and
her,
then they
which is
changed
fine.
time because Isaac
But
Newton termed it Mavity.
but the Doctor remembers gravity, and surely Donna will, because she was there when it changed. The universe has changed around her, not her.
Yeah,
Like they haven't even got time travel right there.
it was just a silly joke that raises more questions than it wasn't
It,
that
like I said,
funny.
it was fucking stupid. It was fucking stupid.
It's two times she makes that joke though, isn't it?
I think it's a few more that the word mavity comes in
Hmm.
because it's like we've got light, we've got air, we've got mavity,
Hmm.
and he questions it then but doesn't really press it,
Yeah.
which means he understands, he knows what's happened,
Is he going to
but
go
that
back
doesn't
and
make any
fix?
sense either.
Is he going to go back and fix it between
Oh,
episodes?
I don't
Is
know.
that
I
something we're
hope
going to do?
if we get a fucking short, if it ends up in one of the Big Finish books, I'm gonna be fuming.
You
Not that
sort
I'd
of
ever
have.
know because I haven't listened to them, but it's just
He,
it is stupid. The whole fucking thing is stupid.
yeah. I
It's
don't.
it's an example of it trying to be funny, and it's just it wasn't.
It did fall flat, and it's like don't. You should only make a joke twice if you have absolute faith in the joke. And I don't see how anybody could have
And
absolute faith in that joke. Maybe it was just a in case you didn't get it the first time.
well, yeah, I mean, like, you didn't,
No, I didn't.
so
I think I got it the second
I
time.
sat through it twice. You sat through it once.
I think I swear I've gotten slower since I
You have.
watched Doctor Who as a child.
Well, the trouble is, you've not had to keep up with the mental
No,
gymnastics of the previous, however, 10 years of
I'm out.
Doctor
I'm
Who.
out of practice.
You know,
Um,
there's been all sorts of wonderful moments over the last 13 years that you've not really
mm,
experienced. But there's also been a lot of shit that you've had to sort of
heard
get your head
heard
around.
from you.
Well, you've heard a lot from me. You would have heard a lot more if you'd seen it.
I get bits and pieces.
Yeah, like I
Um,
can't even begin to think the fucking yeah.
yeah, I. It's a shame because it did. I like that location. I like that
Yeah.
setup. Here is a spaceship. There's nobody on it. There's some weird robot who moves every now and then. There's a countdown. We don't know is a countdown. There's nobody here. The airlock was used 3 years ago. So something got in. The fact that they're on the edge of the universe hardly, hardly like played into it. It only served the
Yeah,
purpose of explaining where the villains came from. But it was never
yeah,
like a. And then at the end, he mentions he invoked a superstition at the end of the universe where the walls of reality are thin or something.
yeah. Like it
Which
doesn't.
will come back.
Well, it's been established that there's different universes within recent Doctor Who canon,
Mm.
right? Because the whole premise of again, I don't know how much of it you know, but the premise of the whole timeless child thing, which is the Doctor's this timeless child, is
Oh yeah,
that
it's like Gallifrey and Jesus or something, and he
something like that.
Jesus
The,
fucking
the
Christ.
Doctor turned up from another unit, unless I'm mistaken, I might be misremembering, but the Doctor turned up from another universe, ended up on Gallifrey, and they built fucking Gallifrey society entirely out of the fact that the Doctor could regenerate.
I hate shit like that so much.
Like it's just like, this is what I was again. It was pre watching. This is what I was saying about how Chibnall's taken 60 fucking years of canon and
Mm.
decided to rewrite the backstory instead of building on it. It's like what he's done is he's found a Lego tower, and
Yeah.
rather than build more on top of it, or do something in the garden. He's taken a baseball bat to it and decided to build a fucking cabin,
Hmm.
and it just doesn't work
Well, I mentioned this
as
in
well.
our video that we did, the visitor cleanup detail, which you should check
Mm.
out. Um, that I don't like the idea of making the Doctor really very important, like intrinsically. He's just a space hobo. He's just a guy who pisses about,
Yeah.
or a lady
Mm.
who pisses about. It's and it sort of raises problems for future showrunners because how do you deal with that? Do you just sort of ignore it? I guess is the best way to do it, frankly, but it's a bit disrespectful.
It is a bit.
I suppose doing it in the first place may have, you could argue was a bit disrespectful, but yeah, I think it's it seemed like it had a lot going for it, and I am disappointed. I am disappointed. I expected a lot more, and I think that's my own fault in a sense because I went into it with high expectations, having heard very very little apart from rumours. Um,
I went into it with the expectation that it might be at least on par with last week's episode.
mm,
Right. I was expecting there to be some big bad thing. It wasn't even that big bad a thing in
mm.
the grand scheme of things. I don't understand why the TARDIS was so fucking,
Well, I think didn't he
you
just
know,
leave? Isn't this like it would have fucked off at so many other points? Except this was the first time he left it on. It didn't fuck off last time.
it didn't. He didn't leave it on. It's fixing itself because Donna spilled the coffee.
Yeah, but no, he turned it off, and then okay, he's fixing it, and it automatically like reset.
Yeah,
Right.
I
Okay.
think that's what the in episode explanation is. I think that's what they're trying to get at. We've only
Okay.
seen it once. We're literally it was Ben had started watching about 5 minutes late, so we started recording this about 10 minutes after it finished.
Yeah.
So this isn't
I think.
multiple watches.
Yeah. What did you think?
It's for,
I
it's for it's for Doctor Gay now.
No, but I like that. I thought that was funny. I don't
Like
think.
I mean
No, I don't
I
think the
don't know what they're
doctor's.
trying to get at.
No, I don't think he's gay. I just think he mentioned that he was an attract. Isaac Newton was a hottie.
Yeah, but then the
I think that's
it's
he.
it's Donna's reaction that makes me think that maybe they're trying to imply that the Doctor might be on a human level of understanding of the situation, a gay male.
No, I think that was just her being Donna and having thought that he was gay.
Okay, that's fair enough.
You know, that was my impression.
But then again, the first time that they properly started traveling, she thought he wanted to fuck her.
Yeah, I guess she changed
So
her mind.
I mean, people do that. That's fair enough. I'll
I,
get back in your
I'll
box.
tell you what it reminded me of that line though. Reminded me of the bit in the Shakespeare Code where, where Shakespeare hits on the doctor and the doctor goes, "Oh, 14 academics just punched the air,"
Ah, yes.
which I've always liked that line. Um,
I,
that's
I will say, just it feels it's quite important.
oh, yeah.
I haven't got an issue with Gay Doctor. It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I would like to know.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Right. Fair. You would like to know. Okay. It's fine. I don't think the doctor is gay. I don't think. I don't know. Probably. I think the doctor's. I mean, I think Time Lords are beyond all that stuff, as I've said before. So
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
but
anything goes, I guess. Um. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit. It's kind of like bestiality, isn't it? Really? Because they're so beyond us. You know, you might as well be
well,
fucking a Jack Russell.
they do look like us.
Well. Um. Why? Here's my question.
Go on.
Why didn't the Doctor take both Donners and figure it out on the TARDIS?
Good question.
He just fucked up.
I don't know why he picked for. I don't get
It made
like
sense. That would be. I mean, I don't think you need the bit where he accidentally picks the wrong one. That the line that Donna said that I don't know, because it is. That was
mm,
enough. He's. You could have quite happily ended that with her being the real one.
yeah.
Um,
Like that would have been the appropriate. That is a human understanding of comedy,
it's Donna's
right?
understanding of comedy.
Yeah, rather
That's a
than
Donna thing
let's
to say. It just is.
yeah.
Um,
Why? What to you? Why is it funny?
well, I thought because it's Mr. Bean, isn't it?
But it isn't. It isn't funny. That's the thing.
Well, no, fair
Like
enough.
everything else in this fucking episode, it wasn't funny.
I think that was the idea behind the joke. Conceptually, that was the reason why it was funny. Um, I mean, that was an awkward. It must have been an awkward fucking conversation on the on the TARDIS after
Yeah,
he.
that wasn't even a sorry. I picked up you. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong one.
I mean, he hugged her. I mean, if I was expecting her to go fucking ape shit,
Yeah, she should have hit
which
him.
would have which would have been a ton of reaction. Like, how the hell do you not know who I am at this point?
Mm,
You know,
true.
you say I'm your best friend. You very nearly got me killed in a very slow explosion.
It was very fucking slow, wasn't it?
Mm,
Like the minute that first explosion went off, she should have been sucked towards it.
yeah.
Like I hate to go all physics on it, but you know they should have had the balls to actually kill Donna there if they were going to do that.
That's the second time she's almost died.
Yeah, it is, and they faked it out both times.
Maybe she'll die next. I hope she doesn't.
Well, I mean, they can't both die next time, can
No, no. I think. I, yeah. I mean, I was disappointed by it. I'm trying to think of more things about it that I want
I
to mention.
I've got two specific things I do want to mention still.
Go on.
One, the first shot we saw of him walking in the hallway, in the spaceship hallway,
Yeah.
that one looked fake as fuck.
Yeah.
But it did get me wondering whether they've got access to the big ILM screen now that
Maybe.
they're getting Marvel funding.
Now that they've got Disney
Sorry,
money. Yeah.
Disney funding. Sorry,
Yes.
because obviously that's Disney owning LucasArts or whatever it is now that have that screen that they use for Star Wars stuff. It would make
Mm.
sense if they were able to access it for certain shots, and that would be the kind of shot that I would want to use it for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, CGI is a tool to tell a story. I'm fine with bad CGI as long as it's in service of
Oh
a
yeah,
good story.
yeah. I can live with bad CGI. I just want it to.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think they should have gone minimal with it, but it's not my show. It's Russell T Davis. You can only really criticize what's there, and it
I
didn't
think
do it
it's.
for me. And I think if I hadn't gone in with those expectations, it might have just been a perfectly subpar episode. I think it's made even worse by the fact it's one of three specials with
Mm,
Tennant,
yeah.
and you sort of the bar is higher. If it was like if it was the second or the third shooty one, then you know I'd probably be fine with it.
Yeah.
I probably would be because it's like, oh, okay, well, we've got another one coming up. I'm fine with one mediocre episode, but that's a third of your episodes. That's half of the specials so far.
Mm.
There's been, yeah.
I I was thinking that like the Invasion of the Body Snatchers did it better.
Mm,
I've not even seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and I know it did it better from what I do know of it.
or the thing,
Right? Again, yeah, the thing,
that
same premise.
that
It's
air
all
of
it's all
paranoia, and
that moment where you don't know who's real and who isn't. Well, obviously they're all real, but
yeah. I'm sure I saw somewhere all this speculation about three more guest stars that were
okay.
appearing in this episode. I'm sure I did. Maybe it was just a meme. I don't know. But I thought maybe why don't you have the things shape shift into some former companions or former doctors or something? I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe that was an option.
Well, that's the thing. If they're reading the people's minds as to how they're going to, how they look and how they feel and all that kind of stuff,
Mm.
there's no reason why they would have that incarnation's look.
Well,
Really,
I guess maybe they're just copying what they see in front of them, and they can't copy anything else. I guess like they couldn't turn into
maybe.
like a dragon. They could get big.
Well, yeah. I mean, too big for the environment that they've been in for 3 years.
Yeah, that was a
I
long.
know.
What number did that countdown start with? Because it sure as shit wasn't 10.
No, no, it wasn't, was it?
Must have been 1,000 or something.
Well, I mean, we it was a 45-minute episode.
Mm.
They got from 10 to 5 in 45 minutes. So we're talking every 9 minutes for 3 years. I'm going to do that maths, Ben. Bear with.
Okay. Well, it just makes
You
sense that
waffle on.
she'd put the countdown on a ridiculously high number.
Three
Probably do
years.
that.
We're going to assume it's 3 human years.
Yeah.
Time. So that's 1,095 days. That's that many hours. That many. That by 9. 175,205 assuming it's exactly 3 years.
Or did she just like spin a dial to get that number?
Oh, not too quickly, I shouldn't think.
Or did she just pull a number out of her ass and think? Or maybe she said, "I want to set this up so in 3 years it will go off." Um, you know, at
Maybe
increments of like one every 10 minutes or something.
it doesn't make any sense.
Mm.
I
Well,
don't
I
fucking
thought that was sort of fine.
don't get me wrong. The concept is perfectly fine. It works to me on that's a clever way of dealing with a problem
Yeah,
level.
yeah,
But the logistics of it in
yes. Once you start
practice,
to think about it,
and that's where science fiction entertainment falls apart, really, isn't it?
well,
When you
yeah.
actually think
I
about it.
mean, you say that. I mean, a lot of it's detail orientated, but I
Mm,
mean, as long as the main story or theme works, I'm less concerned with the details.
okay, that
Um,
makes sense. I can live with that. Have you got anything else specifically you want to talk about it that you can remember?
well, what about the ending?
Well, yes. Sorry, the ending.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, I wrote down Bernard Cribbins.
God bless him. He looked old.
He did.
Uh,
It's yeah.
yeah, he looked old, and a lot changed in 2 days.
Well, that's assuming it is just 1 or 2 days. I know he said a day or two out, but you know,
Hmm.
this is the same TARDIS that dropped Sarah Jane off in Aberdeen instead of Heathrow, right?
Yes.
So 1 or 2 days might be.
I mean, he got the year wrong, didn't he, Christopher Eccleston?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he came back a year later, so it makes sense. Oh,
Yeah. How long has Bernard been? How long has Wilf been sat there in his wheelchair? He didn't have a thermos. She got that wrong.
uh.
But
And everybody was going fucking nuts, and he was just sat there. How long have people been going nuts for? Even if we say it's like 2 days,
how conveniently timed was that plane crash?
very conveniently timed, unless they've been happening very regularly.
Constantly.
You think if the
At
world's
which
gone
point,
nuts, a flight's still scheduled? Uh,
I don't even know. Again, the minute you think about it, it falls apart.
cool, well, I said to cool visual. It's perfectly fine visual.
It's just, it
Yeah.
was a bit too. The CG wasn't good on that either, though.
Nah,
Where is the Disney money gone?
I don't know. To the fucking
'Cause I
Avengers.
don't know either. Did it really cost that much to get David Tennant back?
It went all. They had to reanimate Bernard Cribbins. God bless him.
Oh, don't say that.
No. Oh,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I got a little. I didn't cry, but I could feel myself getting close to like, oh my god, this might be the last we see of him.
They're probably
Obviously, he's not. He's going to
no.
be in the
It'll be
next
the
one,
next
right?
one, but yes, we. But I mean, I love Bernard Cribbins. He's delightful,
Yeah.
and he was a treasure on Doctor Who, and I like his songs as well. Um,
Right, said Fred.
yeah, I
That's
just
all I know of that song.
yeah, I just think that yeah. I mean, we could probably wrap it up. To be honest, Isaac Newton was black. Is that something you want to go into?
No,
No, I mean it was fine. I didn't give two shits.
it caught me off guard, but only because it would. I feel like it would catch anyone off guard, given the whitewashing of history,
I
right?
did notice it. I think it's
I
only
noticed.
there because Russell T Davis wants to say "fuck you" to
Gives no shits
yes,
now.
which I'm
Isaac
completely
Newton
fine.
was black. The Doctor's gay. This isn't going to make any sense. You know, fucking deal with it,
It's
bitch.
completely fine. It's
Yeah,
the sort of thing that doesn't affect anybody who anybody like us. But I bet
yeah.
some racist had a fucking aneurysm tonight. Um,
Oh, well, hopefully it killed them.
yeah, I, yeah, yeah. I like the design of the robot. That was
Yeah, the look was
cute,
fine.
I guess.
It was nice to see something physical
Yes.
and know it was physical.
So I guess final thoughts. Um, unless you've got anything else to add.
No, no,
All
I've
right.
ticked off all the bits I
Well,
had written down.
I guess yeah, I got nothing more. Yeah. I mean, final. I guess final summary. I was disappointed. I had high expectations. I think it suffers from the fact it's one of three specials, so the bar is so much higher. I think it could have done more with that premise, but I liked the sort of plan reveal thing of the captains. Um, I think Catherine Tate little villain turn was surprisingly different and interesting.
Mhm.
Don't much
Yeah.
care for the CGI. Disappointing episode. It's a bit of a shame, but it's not one I'm gonna necessarily think about again. Other than to think, God, wouldn't it be great if we did like body horror or just hardcore, small 1-2 room setting, psychological, um, the Thing style paranoia.
It was a disappointing episode.
Mm,
I said it. You said it. I'm disappointed by it. I'm hopeful, desperately hoping that the next week's episode is going to be better.
I'm sure it will
And I
be.
guess we'll just have to see. I hope so, because I mean, a lot is maybe not a lot. They're already writing and filming season two of
Shooty.
shooty stuff,
Yeah.
right? And I know this because I heard an interview with Tennant and Davies on BBC Radio 2, and they're already shooting it. So, as far as they're concerned, season two is happening, right? But if this doesn't go well, we might not get a season three.
I think that you've lived through the dark times, haven't you? You were you
Yeah.
were watching when everything was.
I've not stopped watching Doctor Who. It took me a while to watch Legend of the Sea Devils or whatever it was called because I wasn't looking forward to it and I kept putting it off and putting it off. But I have watched every single fucking episode of Doctor Who since 2005.
Yeah, so you know how bad it can get, and I think you're tainted by the worries of the lowest ebb. You know how
This
close
this
it's
was
come.
worse. This was worse than the what I consider to be the good episodes of Chibnall's era.
Okay.
And Chibnall's era was the low point of Doctor Who
Mm,
since 2005, as far as I'm concerned.
mm.
So this is not it was not a good episode, and I don't honestly think that there are many fans out there who would genuinely be like able to call themselves fans of a show and not feel the same way as me.
Yeah.
No, obviously you're limited by the lack of experience you have over the last 10, 13 years.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, I was. Well, for those of you that don't know, which is probably all of you if you're watching, I stopped watching in the first series after the first series of Matt Smith. I came back for the 50th and I watched the last little bit of Jodie Whittaker, so I'm really fucking out of it.
you really are.
I am the target market for this new series. Let's be honest. The people who
You are.
stopped watching and they want back.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't notice any soundtrack stuff this episode. And I don't know if that's because there wasn't any or because they did a good job with
I
it.
think they had a bit
Because
of.
I'm a firm believer that the best indicator of a good soundtrack is you don't notice it's there.
Well, they had a bit of Donna's theme. Is it Donna's theme when they're in the TARDIS at the end?
I'm not
When
sure.
he was asking her if you remember anything
Hmm.
about when Chris Chibnall was in charge.
Yeah,
Um,
we all want to forget. But
yeah.
of course, it's not just Chibnall either. You know, there is Smith,
Yeah.
and and I mean Smith went through some shit as well,
Yeah.
and Capaldi went through some shit. So it's
Yeah.
not just the Chibnall era itself; it is the entire gap. You know, and Smith lost two companions
Mm,
on the in like that because of the fucking Weeping Angels.
yeah.
One of them voluntarily.
Yeah. Was that the
You
one
know,
where the Weeping Angels was the Statue of Liberty?
it is that episode. That was a low point in the episode, but the end of that episode, holy fuck!
Yeah.
Because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember seeing that where Rory gets gone
Yeah.
and then Amy decides to go and join him.
And then obviously you've got Capaldi. I talk about it a lot, but it was Heaven Sent was a fucking good episode, and then the Doctor went through some shit that episode,
Yeah.
and then obviously Whitaker went through the poor writing of Chris Chibnall. So the three of them have been through some shit.
All of them have suffered.
They have. I think she probably suffered more,
I,
but
I hope she pops back for an anniversary at some point.
it would be
I
nice.
hope she gets a
I
nice.
don't. I've always been critical of her writing, not of her.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of the general consensus as far as I'm aware. It's the same thing with
Yeah.
Colin Baker, isn't it? And Colin Baker
Mm,
got a bad hand, but he's much loved, and he could have been great. And every now and then he got an episode where he got to shine, but it was few and far between.
mm.
Um, so yeah, do you want to labour the point? Because I don't think I've got anything else really. If I'm really honest to say, I think I've summed everything up.
No, I think we're good.
Shall we do this again next week?
Yeah, we can do. Let's talk about it after. Get this cut, and then
Okay. Well, we've been going for about 40 minutes.
yeah, that's
Um,
fine.
which is a decent bit of content.
And we basically did the episode.
Yeah, I hope you liked it, and I hope you tune in again when we can be
Yeah,
asked to touch on this.
we might do this again next week. If you liked this, let us know. We do look at comments, so if you leave a comment, we'll probably reply to it. It's a little bit
Yes,
better to do.
yes,
Um,
yes.
we do like to hear what you think when it
Yeah,
happens.
yes, we do, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. We do gaming
I
videos
think,
mostly.
feel free to disagree with us. If you fucking loved the episode, tell us.
Yeah,
Tell us why. I want to know why.
yes. Who knows? There's a good chance you might change my mind because I'm very
Yeah,
easily persuaded.
you really are.
I am. You're right.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, yeah, we're waffling on. We need to wrap this up so you
yeah.
can upload it.
There's no point. We're just prattling on. Okay, so yeah. Bye.
Bye.